Guys, what's going on? It's me, Destiny Godly, your resident chocolate bae, and welcome back to my channel. On today's edition of the Chocolate Checklist, we are going to be talking about some of my favorite setting powders. We're going to be talking about colors, brands, finishes, how finely milled they are, and which ones will work best for you and why. And I'm also going to do some demos. So if you'd like to learn more about setting powders, all you got to do is stay tuned. All right, you guys, so my foundation is already done, and I will have more information about what foundation and different things that I used in the bottom bar. I did use my Estee Lauder in 71 Deep Spice. I said, let me just tell you guys right now, 7W1 Deep Spice. And then the concealers that I used are from Makeup Forever. I absolutely love these self-setting Ultra HD concealers. I use color 43 and 51 in the center of my face, and that's pretty much all I have going on right now. The brow products that I've been liking are from NARS. I like cool, dark brown, and then a little bit of black on the tips of my brows. I think it makes them look really sharp and it just gives them a really complete look. So that's pretty much everything going on with my face, okay? Nothing else, everything else I'm gonna do with you. So when it comes to setting powder, I have a couple theories of thought. Number one, as I've said in previous videos, I really don't like to set my face with a darker setting powder. I really feel like if you use a dark or skin tone setting powder, sometimes the makeup may oxidize on you a little strangely. So I do like to use a translucent powder with a little bit of a lighter pigmentation in it. Okay, but one setting powder that is darker that works really nicely to set your full face in, or at least the edges of your face, because I never really set my center at all with a dark color. But one that looks really good on the edges is the Laura Mercier powder. I actually think it has a really beautiful finish. I can't say too much about the longevity of this powder, but it looks really, really beautiful, and it does hold your makeup together, and it does a great job setting, meaning turning your foundation from a cream state to powder. The reason you set your foundation is to not only change it from cream to powder, but it also allows you to then further use more powder products, such as bronzer, such as highlighter, such as finishing powders. If you were to go and use bronzer directly to wet foundation, not only would it possibly streak on you and look really oversaturated and ruddy, but once it oxidizes, all those colors stacked up on each other, it's gonna look crazy. So like I was saying, the Laura Mercier powder as well as the Lancome powder are two powders that have a little bit of a deeper pigmentation, but not too much. So if you are gonna set your powder, or if you're gonna set your foundation with a translucent powder that has a pigmentation, I think these two are two of the better ones. Beny also makes a really deep powder in ebony. If you prefer to set your face with a translucent powder with color, like I said, I personally don't. One of my favorite powders to set my all over face with, that's translucent, is from Dermablend. You guys know that I love Dermablend Henny. It is one of my favorites. This is Cool Beige. I also have Warm Saffron, which I prefer to use in the center of my face. And then I have Illuminating Banana, which I prefer to use in the very, very center of my face to give my face that high highlight. And I also like to use it in areas of my face that have sunken or have depth or have hollows, around my eyes, around my mouth, anywhere that I really truly want to elevate. So when it comes to color of setting powder, my theory is simple. I like to look in the center of my chest, as I always tell you guys, for concealer, for setting powder, center of my arm, the areas of my skin that are the lightest, and then I like to go a shade or two up. And the reason I like to go a shade or two up is because your makeup will oxidize, meaning once your makeup is on your face, everything will set together, the oils in your skin, the products or the chemicals and the different compounds, kick my table, the different compounds of the makeup will come together and oxidize. The air will hit it and it will become a little bit of a different color. Doesn't always happen harshly, doesn't always happen to everybody. A lot of time it happens to deal with the chemical of your body, your sweat, the different things in the makeup and how they act together. So to counteract that, especially in the center of my face, usually when your makeup oxidizes, it can get a little bit darker or a little bit more orange or red. So To kind of counteract that, I really don't like to use too orange of a powder for my skin tone in particular, such as something like Topaz, which is a little bit more of an orange powder. This is from Beny, but this is a good powder if you have to mix with banana powders, which sometimes can be a little bit too pale for darker skins, and then Camel, which is a little bit more of a yellow tone. It kind of reminds me of Warm Saffron from Dermablend. If you can't get your hands on Dermablend Warm Saffron, Camel is your next best bet. Now, a lot of people ask me, is banana good for dark skin? Banana is good for dark skin. I personally wouldn't use that as my only powder, simply because you guys know that I love to create and build and sculpt. And I don't like to use the palest color as my only color, but if the center of your face is a little bit more natural in tone from your concealer, then you can go in with a banana powder. Banana powder came to fame because at one point it was pretty much the only color other than translucent, and dark-skinned women were really afraid of translucent powder. A step up from translucent powder are the powders such as Blondie from Huda. I think this is kind of like in between translucent and banana, though this is a little bit more of like a creamy beige tone, and I really like this tone a lot. And then we have Soft Honey from Bobbi Brown, which is absolutely beautiful. It's kind of like a banana-y tone, but it's a little bit deeper and it has a little bit of a redness to it. It's not so pale, not so stark. Warm Saffron, which I absolutely love, which is kind of like a combination of a Topaz powder mixed with a banana. Okay, banana at one point was like the only other option besides translucent. And then here is my Warm Saffron. The way that I usually can tell if I'm gonna like the powder is, like I said, I will go into this area of my skin and I will rub the powder and see how it disappears into my skin, how it melts into my skin, how finely milled. Does it come across chalky? Does it come across buttery? Is it going to melt into my skin, into my products, and look really good? Okay, another color that I really like is Namib from Juvia's Place. This is a really soft pale brown color, and if you use a little bit of a paler concealer, I recommend using a little bit more of a neutral tone setting powder. So I'm gonna go in with Warm Saffron, and that's the color right there, and I'm gonna soft set my face all over. Soft setting is basically preparing your face for the rest of the powders. I'm gonna go in with this Najee Cosmetics powder brush. It's so big and fluffy, and this is the kind of brush that you're gonna wanna set with. So I'm just gonna rub it into the top and really get the powder in there good, and then I'm going to stamp it all over my face. Really puff it up there good everywhere that is moist. You can even puff it over your eyebrows. It really helps to not only set your makeup from cream to a powder state, but it helps your makeup to last longer. It's really finely milled. It really helps everything to look smooth, helps to glaze over your pores. It has like little light reflecting, very soft spears of probably mica or something like that. And it really just makes your skin look really beautiful. Okay, so my face is soft set. So aside from Warm Saffron, you can also do Cool Beige, which is generally what I use, and I actually meant to use that today, but Warm Saffron works absolutely amazingly well. Cool Beige is another color that you can use in the center of your face. It's a little bit brighter. It doesn't really have that banana tone, but another color that I really love is Golden from, I was gonna say Deep Golden, but this is just Golden from Fashion Fair. And then the one that I would compare to that is probably Soft Honey from Bobbi Brown. So if you can't get Golden from Fashion Fair, I would try Bobbi Brown. And then I would probably move my way down to Dermablend or Beny powders if you can't get your hands on either of those, or if they're out of your price range. I definitely think that Beny is probably the most affordable powder up here, and then to Juvia's, and this is Namib. I really like Namib from Juvia's because it's a rich color, it has a little warmth, it has a little bit of a goldenness to it, it blends into the skin very nicely. They're finely milled, and like I said, they're really great prices. Namib is also really great if you're especially deep. It's a little bit deeper than my warm saffron, so I won't use it to set the center of my face today. Sometimes I mix Namib with Kalahari. Kalahari is more of a banana toned kind of powder, which is really nice as well. So there you go, you can see some in the top. I have a little bit of Namib, I have a little bit of Kalahari. They actually work really nicely together. This one is Bobbi Brown. This one is Juvia's Place with a little bit of Namib and Kalahari mixed together. As you can see, they're kind of a similar tone, which is why sometimes it's good to mix. And then sometimes you can actually find the tone that you're looking for. So what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna press first, and I'm gonna work it back and forth. And what I'm using right now on this side, this is the Juvia's Place powders. I just decided, since I have it on the brush, to go ahead and use it. And I'm using it in a controlled fashion because these powders do create shapes on your face. So I'm using it to create the most flattering under eye area. And if you have a problem with creasing, go in with a little fan brush, very lightly, and work the powder back and forth. Reverse highlighting my contour to highlight this area, but I'm not bringing it onto my jawbone because that's going to make my face look bigger. All I want to do is really make sure to reverse highlight my contour area. So I'm highlighting my contour. I'm putting my contour on display. So this is the Juvia's. On this side, you guys always see me use Dermablend, so I'm not going to use Dermablend. I think on this side, I'm just going to go in, I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown. So I'm going to go in with Bobbi Brown Soft Honey. And when you see me pull my face, that's so it can really get into the fine lines and wrinkles. As you can see, the Bobbi Brown is a little bit brighter, but it still has a really nice warmth to it. It's not creating a white or an ashiness. It's still warm, it's still dimensional, and it's really great for darker skin tones. You get lines around your mouth, blow your face out. And really work it into your lines. I'm gonna go into the center of my forehead. I'm not gonna take the highlighter too high because you can really highlight a big forehead if you have one, and that's fine. But I usually don't take my highlight up too far. So I'm just doing that to give the bridge of my nose a natural highlight. It's going to help to elevate and slim out and make your face just appear to have the perfect lighting on you at all times. I'm gonna let that sit for a few minutes. So now I'm gonna go in with a brightening set, and basically that's taking the palest of your highlighting powders, whether that be your translucent or whether that be like a pale banana kind of tone, and I'm gonna use that on the very center of my under eye, my forehead, and anywhere in my face that has dropped or has a shadow or a dip, okay? In the video before this, I also mentioned that amazing CoverGirl powder. If you have deepness around your face, you can skip the pale powder and go in for an orangey tone powder. This is warm beige. This is from CoverGirl. It's the CoverGirl Vitalist powder. I don't really have any dark circles or anything like that today, so I'm gonna go in with my pale powders. The two that I'm gonna show you is the Illuminating Banana from Dermablend. This is a little bit of a newer powder from them. They've always made banana, but it hasn't always been illuminating. So when it comes to this kind of powder, I like to use a little bit of a detailed brush, and I like to pat it in the very center of my under eye, not taking it out too far because this is going to elevate. This is going to make it appear higher, larger, wider, wherever you put it. So you don't want to take it too far on your face because you could make your face look wider. I don't need that. If you have a very small, narrow face, you can definitely do that. You can definitely go in with more of a highlighter and stay away from contour. I need contour. You can use a little bit here as well, and a little bit in the center of your forehead. You want to make sure to blend it back and forth so it doesn't just set. You know, it really has to get into your fine lines or anything like that. And when I say fine lines, I'm not just talking to older women. Everybody's skin has fine lines. So, okay, I'm not gonna let that sit too long. It really doesn't need to. Now I'm gonna go in and brush everything away. I'm gonna buff this in. I'm gonna brush this away, brush this away. I'm gonna do the other side of my face. I haven't forgotten. I just want to show you guys the effect that it gives, okay? Now this powder is very fresh and we did powder on powder, so don't be alarmed if you feel like your face looks a little bit too stark. We're gonna go in and we're gonna spray set. So on this side of my face, we're gonna go on with the Huda Blondie, and I really like this powder because while it is stark, it does still have a really nice yellow tone. It's really finely milled, as you can see it flying everywhere. And it wears really nicely. Not taking it out too far. It smells really fragrant. It smells just like the foundation. If you're familiar with the foundation and what it smells like, it smells just like that. Okay guys, so as you see, we have both sides set with different products. I honestly like this side better with the Huda, and was the Bobbi Brown on this side, and then this side was the Illuminating Banana. So I really think that the Huda just blends out really nicely. In any event, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you one of my favorite little tips for setting powder, and that's basically to take a good setting spray and a good fluffy brush. You could spray your face first if you want. You could spray the brush first. I prefer to spray the brush for the most part, but you can spray your face for effect too. I like to let the product get in there really good, and then I like to just go in and I like to give everything a good poke. It's a spritz and a poke. That is my method. This really helps to, it doesn't really break the makeup down, but it's kind of breaking the makeup in. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people complain about flashback, and that's like, well, if you take a picture directly after you do your makeup, your powder is still powdery, everything is still fresh, it hasn't worn in or worn down at all, you're gonna get a little bit of an ashiness. But that is pretty much everything for my setting. I will have a list below of my favorite colors for different darker complexions, and I'll even have a little bit why, and I'll definitely show you everything that was used in this video. So now that that is done with setting, I am going to go in with bronzer and then a little bit of finishing powder. This is my favorite bronzer right now. This is Bronzeville. This is from the Prime Beauty. If you shop with the Prime Beauty, use my code DESIG, D-E-S-I-G, and you will get a discount. So I'm going in with this brush, and I will have the link below for this brush. And I'm gonna wait for everything to dry. Everything's dry to the touch. Then I'm gonna go in, very fluffy brush. I'm gonna start from back by my ear, following my natural contour, and also that reverse highlighting my contour really helps to set everything up. I'm gonna start and I'm gonna blend it forward. The bulk and the strongest bit of the bronzer should start back near your ear, blending out very nicely. No harsh lines. Use a fluffy brush for your bronzer and contour, okay? Gonna go in with a little bit more. And this is why we set our makeup. If I tried to bronze onto wet makeup, it would streak, it would stick, it would look ruddy, and it would oxidize, and I'd look a mess. Come in around the edges of my forehead. Now I'm going to go in with a smaller, fluffier brush on the tips of that brush. I'm going to go in, I'm going to contour my nose. And there you have a very, very beautiful foundation set, bronzer. It looks absolutely great. I'm really impressed by that Huda powder. I'm gonna tell you, it came along really, really nicely. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go in with a little bit of finishing powder. This is one of my favorite finishing powders. This is something that I use to just give the makeup an all over glow, just a gorgeous, gorgeous light reflection, softens the shadows, makes your face look like silk. I'm gonna sweep that over my cheeks because it's gonna give me a very beautiful soft glow where you have any matteness, a little bit in the forehead area for lines. Get your pore area, get your line area. Sweep it all around nicely and with a very soft hand. And then if you'd like, following that, you can do another spritz of setting powder, another spritz of setting spray, or anything like that. Okay guys, so here you go, we're done. As you can see, I put on a little bit of mascara, blush, and a little bit of a lip color. My face is beat, my face is bronzed. It's set, there's finishing powder, there's a natural glow. I have a no eyeshadow and no technical highlighter, and I think this face is gorgeous. Okay, I do this for you guys. I just want to help you guys out. I hope this was helpful. If you're new here, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know every time I make a video. It's free, honey. Again, this was the chocolate checklist. You have been checked, honey. As always, thank you so much for commenting, rating, and subscribing. I'll be in touch and hopefully you'll do the same. Bye, guys.